Heyo, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about building a character profile. Look, whether you are a planner or a pantser, you have to do this before you even begin your story. You need to know what your character is all about. So you can pants the story away, but on this one, you kind of got to have a firm grasp on the character. So you want to hang in there till the end of the video when we give you the 4 most important questions to ask your character before you start writing them. Also, if you are enjoying our videos, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss a Friday upload. All right, so all that's out of the way, let's get to it. Rachel, what is the first thing that people need to be asking their characters before they write them?
The first thing you should probably figure out is the gender or gender identity of your character. Are they going to be male, female, non-binary? You kind of got to know that before you can write a character. You need to know their sexual orientation, especially for a romance novel. You kind of got to know how that relationship is going to go because you got to write the love interest next. So that's important to know too. You also have to know their age because you need to know if you're going to write YA, NA, adult, etc.
The next thing you want to plan for your character is their name. Notice that we didn't put this at the beginning because a lot of times as you're figuring out their personality and like what they're going to be all about, you'll kind of find a name that seems to fit them. Think of it as like, somebody giving birth to a child and they, through the whole pregnancy, had the name picked out, and then they look at the child and they're like, you don't look like a Billy Bob. And they give it a better name. So the same thing can apply here. A helpful hint, something that we've done in the past and will continue to use, especially when it comes to our supporting characters or just characters that are in for a scene, is using a name generator or babies' names list. We've in the past done a thing where we'll pull up like the 500 most popular names, and then Rachel just asked me, pick a number 1 through 40, and we'll pick a number, and that's going to be the name. So those things really help if you're feeling kind of stuck on names or you have a really character-heavy story. You might want to use that.
And you may not even be ready for a name at this point. You may still be stuck, and you want to wait until you figure out even more things about the character, and that's okay too.
The next thing we're going to look at is our body type. This stuff is really important to have written down, especially when it comes to supporting characters, because people seem to have a good grasp on their main character, and then they can't remember if they gave the main character's best friend blue eyes or green eyes or red hair or blonde hair, whatever it is. So you kind of want to have their height, their build, their hair color, their eye color, distinguishing marks, tattoos or piercings, all this stuff you want to have written down somewhere so you can refer back to it.
Pick face claims. Go online, find pictures of people that represent the characters in your head. Who do you picture when you're writing these characters? Don't necessarily share them with your readers if you're posting on Wattpad. If you do, I would highly suggest waiting until your story is complete and posting it in the last chapter, because I really believe that you need to give your readers a chance to picture what they want to picture. For example, this is a real conversation that I had with a coworker on Friday. We were talking about the off-campus series, and she said that she likes blonde guys. Blonde guys are her thing. She doesn't like dark-haired guys, and she realized when she started reading the book about Dean, he's blonde, she was like, oh, I pictured all these guys blonde. Is that bad? And I was like, no, like if you don't want to picture them the way they're written, you picture them how you want. So if you have a reader that wants to do that, they should have the ability to do that. It's much easier for them to ignore the words that you've written to describe rather than a picture that you've pushed in their face. But for you to have a face claim, that can really help. We have face claims for all of our characters, all of our main characters for the Amber Shift. And I can't tell you how many times when we were writing that book that we went back to that document to look at those pictures, not just because those dudes were super, super cute, but because it really did help. It really did help us remember, oh yeah, he has, this one has hazel eyes, or this is the one with the blue eyes.
I want to stress again what you said about making sure that the face claims go at the end of the story. The purpose behind that is that there's certain people that I might look at and just flipping into your story from the very beginning and seeing somebody that I don't really like or I'm not really attracted to might be like, I'm going to skedaddle on this one. The last thing you want to be looking at on the external stuff is their style. I know we talk about character clothing a lot on this channel, and we usually try to tell you to steer away from overdoing it. But in this case, you do at the beginning want to give your reader like a feel for them.
The next section is the internal stuff. And to me, this is the most fun stuff and the stuff that really shapes who your character is. Start, of course, with personality. You need to determine if your character is an introvert, an extrovert, or a mix of both, depending on the situation. Are they shy? Are they outgoing? Does it depend, again, on the situation? Are they laid back? Are they high strung? Do they stress out? Do they have any anxiety, ADHD, depression, any kind of mental stuff that they're struggling with? If you're going to write about mental illness, you either need to have experienced it yourself or do a lot of research on it. Don't just make it up off the top of your head. Hobbies. Are they talkative? Are they quiet? Do they argue? Or do they just say, I don't care, whatever you want to do? What's their vibe? What kind of person would they be when you put them in with a circle of friends? Who would they be in the Breakfast Club?
Good question. I like that one.
How do you want your readers to feel about them?
If you're having some problems figuring out some of their traits, a really fun thing to do is figure out their birthday and then go and look at the astrological sign, because there's so much in there where you can get like the positive traits of them, the negative traits, and you can use that to your advantage. Look, you don't have to believe in that stuff to kind of get some ideas from it. As writers, we're always being creative about the ways that we go about gathering information about our characters or our stories. So this could be one of the ways that you do that.
Another thing you could do is, this is just an example, if you are a Harry Potter fan, pick what house would your character be in. Would they be a Slytherin, Ravenclaw? And that could tell a lot about their personality. Don't use that in your story. Just have it in your head, because then you are categorizing them and you're making them fit into something that you already have a strong feeling toward. And there are plenty of things, like if you are a big Marvel fan, which Marvel character would they be? Which DC character would they be? Whatever. And that really can help you fit them into a little category in your head and give them more personality traits.
It's okay to create a character with another character in mind, somebody that's inspired that character. Don't shy away from that. All storytelling is a retelling of other stories. It's going to be that way for the rest of time. Nobody's going to come up with something that is completely original. So if you have a character you really loved, these personality traits about them, throw them into your character. The last thing that we're going to talk about is their environment. Their environment plays so much into how they react to things and what they're struggling with. The first question usually falls to the family. Who is their family? What was the family dynamic like? Who's in their inner circle? Did they have a good childhood? The next question that you want to look at is kind of goes along with their monetary situation. Do they have a car? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of house? What's their career?
So as promised, we're going to give you the 4 most important questions that you need to ask about your character. Number 1, what is the most important thing in their lives? Who is the most important person? Is it a goal?
Next question is, what is their flaws? Look, nobody wants to read, especially a main character that goes without flaws. So make sure that you are maybe using something like the astrological signs like we spoke about to figure out what those flaws are, not only internally, but they should have some external flaws as well.
Yes. And you could even, people do this all the time. I've done it. Take some flaws from yourself and put them into your characters.
Therapeutic.
Number 3, what are they scared of? What are their fears? And we're not talking about spiders or snakes, unless you're writing a horror story about spiders and snakes. What's their like deep-seated fear? What are they terrified of losing?
And the last question, this has to do with your character arc. This is very important element of your story. Who your character is at the beginning of the story should not be who your character is at the end of the story. So what is going to change for them? How are they going to change from here to here? There has to be a change, or there was really no journey to go on with them. You were just following them through everyday life. There you have it. That is how you build a character profile. The most important questions to be asking yourself, your character, to figure them out before you start putting them on the page.
If you want to read some stories with some pretty expertly crafted characters, if we do say so ourselves, go to our Wattpad at Crystal and Felicity.
And as always, write what you love.